It's the 19th of January, Monday.
Good morning, Monday.
All right.
Okay. Politics this week. Okay, let's start looking at Monday.
The extension of policy address?
The extension, the policy address is being very quickly rolled out. So there's all kinds of stuff going on there. 250 new beds for hospitals in Tseung Kwan O, Chun Mun, Ruttenji Hospital, Prince Wales, all over Hong Kong. New hospital in Kai Tak. They're going to talk about that in the Health Committee today. Public service, they're going to talk about extending retirement age for the discipline services, police, people working in jails, stuff like that, up to 60. I guess they were getting off at 55 before. And civil servants are going to go to 65 like the rest of the working stiffs in Hong Kong. Constitutional affairs is going to be on the agenda today. And again, they're going to be seeing if, anybody's ready to play ball on constitutional reform. But they're also going to talk about stuff like how to reform district council. But what I thought was really interesting is I'm waiting to see today is the fallout from the government's youth policy. And today, people kind of woke up and it was like, Blofeld, from the James Bond, is setting up his secret base on the secret Stonecutter's Island, where he had a secret ceremony to have all of his new Army cadets sworn in. I mean, the whole thing seemed a little sinister.
Show me the Army cadet producer. Show me the Army cadet.
Well, that's
the news.
Oh, do we have
news on the Army cadet?
Well, apparently the commander-in-chief is Mrs. C.Y. Lung. Ma'am, yes, ma'am. So they've announced this they're going to set up these PLA Army cadets, and so they had a ceremony at the PLA operations at Stonecutter's Island, which to me, dun 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 dun. Now I can't tell if this is just going to be like I got a niece who's in the Air Cadets in Vancouver, right? Chloe Ma, and I can't tell.
But I think the whole
all very
line of thoughts is from Salvation Army.
But you put the PLA in
the Scouts and all that.
Yeah, but we already have the Salvation, and we already have the Scouts, and we have the Girl Guides,
and
we have the
it's
St.
also
John's.
an extension of the unsuccessful launch of the so-called nationalism.
Well, then you've got nationalism and
patriotic education.
Yeah, we're gonna have more exchanges with the mainland. When you add it in with all those, it goes from being like government-run military Boy Scouts? What does that sound like? Oh, who tried that in the 1930s? Oh, yes, Hitler. I mean, the Nazi youth. I mean, but, it could be
not as extremist as that.
No. Well, that's the thing. But coming with that backdrop of all this, we must change the way the youth think.
Yeah.
It seems a little sinister.
I know that people are really worried about that, but I think it's kind of inevitable. Because once you do not teach the so-called national education at school, then the pro-establishment will find ways to try to do that in some sort of form. And this is one form of it. I have to remind our viewers. This is only one form of it. There will be many different forms.
Many more to come.
Many different forms. And I think this is even more difficult to monitor because in terms of transparency, I would rather very transparent curriculum. At least the teachers or some of the teachers can do critical thinking both sides. But right now you're doing experience learning. And you just absorb and maybe you do not have enough time for reflection and all that. So I'm worried more about that rather than developing into something really unimaginable. Having said that, that is worrying enough. That is worrying enough.
This could fizzle out. I mean, one of the great things about Hong Kong schools is that the smart kids are not ostracized like they are in places like North America. It's the stuff of legend in movie and films. Here, smart kids are actually put on a bit of a pedestal, and their peers respect them. But these kids could be the new dorks of Hong Kong schools. Because
I can only hope that the Hong Kong kids are smart enough. So
here's the thing. The way this is going, like you said, there will be other measures like this, and they're doing it with money, and they're doing it with organization. But
exchange programs.
But Hong Kong people, as soon as they have enough money and a bit of education, they do everything they can to get their kids out of the local school system as much as possible. And we see that with the number of students in the local system diminishing and kids going through IB programs expanding. It's like people are... So what you will end up with is the poorest kids in Hong Kong...
That's an objective fact.
That's an objective fact.
People in the
local school system is shrinking, and people in things like IB programs and British certified programs is growing because parents are desperate for it. So what you're going to end up with is the lower income kids getting the full court press from the Chinese education, whereas people over here will not. And you might get this bifurcation of society with this, people who get this indoctrination and people who are actively rejecting that. And will those two clash?
Yep.
That doesn't sound like harmonious society to me.
That's going to clash. But
so something to watch out for.
But keyword for today: ostracized.
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 Who's being ostracized?
You don't want to be ostracized.
Definitely not. Yeah. Definitely not.
Because on the one hand, you see the ostrich running.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, they put their head turned down. So
and they could get left out of things.
Yeah. Don't be ostracized.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds
All
good.
right.
Things to watch out.
Thanks, Andrew.
Cheers.
Cheers.